a See No Evil 2. 2. As in a sequel to the original. Why is there a sequel to the original? Who watched See No Evil and said, you know what we need to do? We need to make a sequel. Oh, I say! Despite the fact that movies like this are in blatant violation of Jay Sherman's big 3 rules of movie-going, i.e., never under any circumstances see a movie with the number 2 at the end, I ended up watching this movie. In fact, I ended up watching the first movie before I watched this one again, so I could actually, get kind of a grasp of what was going on, because it had been so long since I saw the first one, and I kind of regret that decision. And because I regret that decision, I'm now going to inflict it upon you. And we're going to be having us a double feature, so sit back, because we're actually going to start with See No Evil 1. Hope you have fun with this one. See No Evil is the product of Vince McMahon and World Wrestling Entertainment sitting back and saying, we basically got the empire on professional wrestling, but you know what we really need to do? We need to build a film studio. Oh yeah, because, when I think of a guy who puts on wrestling shows, I instantly think that guy would make a great film director, film writer, film anything. So yeah, we ended up getting a film studio out of the whole deal. And as a result of that film studio, the very first movie that came out was See No Evil. I'd tell you what the plot is, but let's be honest, if you've seen one slasher movie, you've seen them all. Basically, get 6 to 7 randos in a random space, getting picked off one by a serial killer. That's basically See No Evil to a T, although if you add a bunch of weird little random quick cuts that are more annoying than scary, then you've basically got See No Evil in a nutshell. One thing I'll say about See No Evil is it's very brown. Pretty much from start to finish, it is just brown. It is just... I wouldn't even say it's ugly. I'd just say that, this movie is very, brown. Clearly, the individual who wrote this movie for WWE Films went to the Eli Roth School of Horror, i.e., make the protagonists as unlikable as humanly possible. That way, you feel nothing, or you feel satisfaction when they actually die. Which is not how you do horror. You're not supposed to want to see the good guys die. You're supposed to not want to see them die. That way, when they actually do get killed, it has more of an impact on you, the viewer. Okay, you can maybe have one unlikable douche tops, but that's it. One. Every single kid in this movie is an unlikable douche in one way, shape, or form. They're supposed to be doing community service in order to lessen their sentence, but a lot of them just kind of go on this stupid treasure hunt, which frankly is an unnecessary B-plot, or they're kind of hanging around the lobby having drug parties, or they're trying to have sex with each other because it's a slasher movie and at least 2 of the 6 or 7 are having sex before they get killed because that's the trope. The only likable character in the entire movie is the adult supervising them, and unfortunately he gets killed halfway into the movie, so yep, we're gonna have to try and make at least 2 of these kids likable. And honestly, at the end of the day, I didn't buy the what they call in wrestling face turn, which is when a bad guy becomes a good guy. I did not buy it. That guy did not deserve to be the hero at the end of the movie. No. I refuse this logic, good sir. Good day. I will give one positive to this movie, and that is that Glenn Jacobs actually does make a really good serial killer. Most WWE fans will know him better as Kane, a man who is 7 feet tall and is basically the devil. I mean, seriously, look at him. Look at Kane and tell me he is not the devil. I dare you. Of course, in exchange for making a really good casting decision, they had to give him one of the worst names I have ever heard for a serial killer. Jacob Goodnight. Really? Ugh. Jesus Christ. I'm looking at this guy right now, and I can already tell you that all you need to do is take out the good, and you've got a better name for a serial killer. Like Jacob Knight, I'd believe that. Or hell, maybe even take out the Knight. Jacob Good, the irony is he's evil. Okay, you know what? Maybe not that one so much, but the first one, definitely. Jacob Knight, that's what I would do. But that's just me personally. Overall, I've seen worse, but at the same time, I've seen a lot better. And I think so has everybody else who's ever watched a slasher movie. In fact, I think if you're new to the slasher genre, you'd take one look at this movie and say, yeah, this movie sucks. I've seen better. See No Evil, 1 hat out of 4. And now we move on to See No Evil 2. I don't know what's more baffling. The fact that there is a See No Evil 2, or the fact that See No Evil 2 is actually better than See No Evil 1. Better! I'm not even kidding about this. For starters, we have another color besides brown. I mean, brown does eventually find its way in, but for the most part, everything is this more of an, I don't know what you call it, sort of a bluish, grayish, maybe just a smidge of green in there, a little mixture color. But it's still a nicer color than brown. And I also saw some red, I also saw yellow in one scene. I mean, there's colors in this movie. I just watched See No Evil 1 and I almost forgot what color even was. It's such a refreshing change of pace. And speaking of refreshing changes of pace, the characters are actually likable. Like, okay, they kind of fuck with each other around the workplace because, dudes just having fun, dudes making jokes and all that. But, these people, I like these people. I actually want to see these people make it. And it's such a gut punch when some of them actually don't make it. It's genuinely a bummer to see one character die. It's like, oh, wow, oh my god, that's actually kind of sad. That's effective. Another thing about the sequel is the sequel takes place right after the original, which I found interesting in of itself because if you actually see how the first one ends, there is no way Jacob Goodnight, I hate that name. There is no way Jacob Goodnight should have survived that fall. As terribly CGI animated as it was, he basically ended up as a smear on the concrete at the end of See No Evil. But I guess we retconned that so that somehow he didn't end up a smear. He's basically in one piece, just barely hanging on to life by a thread. Save for that moment when, oh, you know it, two randos from the victim cast decide, hey, we're in the room with a dead serial killer. You know what would be really cool right about now? If we did it in the room with the serial killer. Yeah, there's a couple of moments where you're kind of thinking, why would you ever do that? But yeah, compared to See No Evil 1, they're few and far between. I can't believe I'm saying this, but See No Evil 2 is actually better. It's good. Like, okay, it's not perfect or great or, honestly, in hindsight, I'm thinking good might even be a little generous, but what can I say? It's actually better made than the first movie. It's like whoever made this movie watched the first one and said, okay, this thing here with all the quick edits, we need to do away with that entirely. Oh, and this thing where everything is all brown, yeah, we need to have more colors around here than that. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm at a loss for words. The one closest thing to a negative I can possibly think of for See No Evil 2, and this is probably a bit of a spoiler, is the dark ending. A friend of mine and I were talking about horror in the 2000s earlier last week, and the topic of the dark ending came up, where like every horror film in the 2000s basically had the dark ending where either everyone died or one guy survived only to live to regret surviving, etc., etc. And like I said, at the risk of spoiling this movie, it does go the dark ending route. And for some people who are a bit jaded in the horror film genre, that will probably turn you off. I don't mind it too much as long as it's not something that gets abused. Honestly, I didn't even think about it until said friend brought it up, but now that you mention it, yeah, I did kind of notice it. But yeah, if it's something that you find to be a pet peeve, you could probably subtract a hat from your score. But me, I was genuinely impressed with this movie. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm giving See No Evil 2 3 hats out of 4. And that's going to do it for this double feature for It Came from Pluto TV. I don't think I'm going to be doing another double feature like this again. In fact, I'm already late uploading this video, so I think things will be back to normal next week when I'm not trying to do more than one movie in the same video like this, or even trying to do multiple videos at the same time like I did that last time with the Gauntlet. So there. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, tell me what you thought, tell me that I matter, etc., etc. Until next time.